Hey everyone, we got a great big episode for you. I do a number of what solds, and most importantly, I have a huge update on that big Lego and toy buy that we bought from last video, so stick around. Hello everyone and welcome back into the channel. My name is Andrew, and along with my wife Jessica, we run a full-time online reselling business named 5 Little Ducks Resale. And if you didn't happen to catch my last video, stop what you're doing now, go back and check it out. This is going to give you the groundwork for today's episode. And just a quick recap on that video, I go through a huge toy buy that we did from a local garage sale. And all in all, we spent about $1,000, and we got just a ton of Legos, other assorted toys, and a bunch of other miscellaneous stuff that I honestly still have yet to discover. So before we get into that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to run through a number of what solds that have happened out of our eBay, Poshmark, and Mercari stores. And this time frame runs around the September 20 to October 1 time frame. And I know that that's kind of far in the past, but like I said on previous videos, I am desperately trying to catch up on those. So hopefully I will accomplish that by year's end. So as always, we'll start with our eBay sales. So this first item was this lot of 3 Digital Juice video tracks, stock film, and video library discs. And these together sold for $39.99 plus shipping. Next up, we had this lot of flatware. This was from Wallace. It was in the Elton pattern. It was a 4-piece place setting, service for 8, and it ended up selling on a best offer for $84.59 plus shipping. Next up, we had this lot of 3 red, black, and blue 20-sided dice for role-playing games like Dungeons & Dragons and Magic the Gathering. These ended up selling for $4.99 plus shipping. Following that, we had this vintage 1989 Baylor Bears men's size large green sweatshirt, and I ended up taking a best offer of $75 plus shipping. Up next, we had this vintage Shenango, just the saucer itself, which featured the flying horse Pegasus, and it sold by itself for $24.99 plus shipping. This next item was from our Gina consignment sale. This was a new open box rectangular bamboo serving tray, and it sold for $9.99 plus shipping. Next up was this Croton bone china coffee art coffee mug, and it sold for $4.99 plus shipping. The next item was from another consignment sale. This was from our family friend Carol Ann, and this was a vintage Tiffin 52mm 6-point star effect screw-in photography filter. And this ended up selling for $9.99 plus shipping. The next item up was another flatware set. This was a 20-piece vintage retro Gibson set. It had the white handles, and this sold for $19.99 plus shipping. The next item up was this new with tags Pixie Lady green dinosaur print top, and it sold for a best offer of $14.09 plus shipping. I think we picked up this next item at the Goodwill bins, and when I opened it up, I noticed that it wasn't complete. It didn't have the main component to it, but I looked it up anyway, and it was surely a good seller. This was actually a Nintendo DS game. It was from Adventure Time, and this was the collector's edition. It had the metal case, and it did not have the game itself. So it was only the outer case, and I believe that there may have been a brochure in there as well, and that sold for $19.99 plus shipping. Next up was this set of 12 groovy Peace Owl and Flower pencil set. This sold for $2.49 plus shipping. This next lot was a good seller, but it did take a little bit of time to find the right buyer. This was a set of 4 vintage Dairy Queen restaurant promo collectible drinking glasses from 1976. These sold for $39.99 plus shipping. Following that, we had this Stampin' Up! Set of Santa's Helpers. They were a 6-piece wood-mounted rubber stamp set, and it sold for $7.99 plus shipping. This next item was from my father's estate. This was a new unopened box of Ziploc vacuum seal bags. These were meant to be used with a vacuum seal pump. And this was a discontinued item, and so the price went up on these. This sold for $22.99 plus shipping. Following that, we had this pair of Cole Haan women's size 6B Air Luna waterproof brown leather shoes, and these sold for $24.99 plus shipping. Next up was this pair of new with tags WonderTech hot pink scrub pants, and these sold for $12.99 plus shipping. Next item was a good sale as well. I bought this one amongst a larger lot of pewter figurines, and I think this was one of the first ones to sell. This was a vintage Michael Ricker pewter figure. It was the American Soldier, Chad, and this sold on a best offer of $46.99 plus shipping. This next item was also from the Gina consignment sale. This was a new without tags, Philosophy of Comfort women's size XL gray quilted vest, and it sold for $17.99 plus shipping. Following that, we had this set of 2 Herbal Essences BioRenew in-shower foam conditioners, and these sold for $18.99 free shipping. This next item was from our Plushie Mania video, and it is anything but a plushie. It is a Disney limited edition Paul Cardew Mickey Mouse ceramic salt shaker, and it sold for $7.99 plus shipping. The next item to sell was this new pack of 12 Hello Kitty 1 1/4 inch colorful buttons and pinbacks. This set sold for $9.99 plus shipping. Next up was this Disney Parks authentic Pluto 14-inch plush, and it sold for $9.99 plus shipping. Next up was this Scentsy bar in the baked apple scent. It was the 3.2 ounce package, and it sold for $4.99 plus shipping. And the last eBay item to sell from this time frame was also from our Plushie Mania video. This was a Disney Store mini bean bag featuring Pooh Bear dressed as a pumpkin, and it sold for $5.99 plus shipping. So let's transition over to our Mercari store, and these are sales roughly from the same time period. And we'll start off with this new with tags, Claire's exclusive Squeezamals. It was a cute black Halloween spider, and he sold for $7 plus shipping. Next up, we had this vintage Guess by Georges Marciano 8-ball pool shirt, which sold for $21 plus shipping. Next up, we had another Stampin' Up! Set. This was the Tart and Tangy 4-piece wood mount rubber stamp set featuring fruit and berries, and this sold for $5 plus shipping. Next up was a hat. This was a Flash DC Comics hat. It was red and yellow strapback hat from Six Flags in Grand Prairie, Texas. Sold for $8 plus shipping. Next up, we had this 2014 Kurt S. Adler Sanrio Hello Kitty 17-inch pink Christmas stocking. Ended up selling for $10 plus shipping. The next item was a good sale. This was a pair of 5.11 tactical boots, women's size 10, 8-inch tall military combat style boots, and these ended up selling for $48 plus shipping. And I think I made reference to this brand for this next item. If you're ever out and about sourcing, definitely pick up those plastic animals. If they say Schleich, definitely look them up. This next item was a Schleich 7-inch female giraffe from the African Safari series from 2015, and it ended up selling for $6 plus shipping. Now, $6 plus shipping may not seem like a lot, but if you're picking these up for pennies on the dollar, it's not a bad buy. This next item has been in our store for quite some time, and we actually have a quantity of them, so I'm not sure why they haven't sold, but one did. This was a new with tags, women's size large, U.S. Army officially licensed pink camo hoodie, and it sold for $20 plus shipping. The next item up was this new with tags, Thai Beanie Baby Shasta, the flower bear, and he sold for $5 plus shipping. And rounding out the Mercari sales for this video was this pair of Hawk & Company men's size 11 brown leather chukka boots, and these ended up selling for $25 plus shipping. And last but not least, we will go through some of the Poshmark sales that happened around that same time. First item to sell was this pair of Birkenstock sandals, and they ended up selling for $42 plus shipping. Next up, we had this original Coors embroidered logo strapback hat, and it sold for $12 plus shipping. Following that, we had this pair of Crocs child size C6 red and blue Croc Band Lodge Point winter insulated boots, and these sold for $12 plus shipping. Next up, we had this pair of BKE women's size 32 Stella low-rise stretch crop denim jeans, and these sold for $26 plus shipping. This next item was a fun one. This was a SpongeBob SquarePants men's size large light up Patrick Star holiday sweatshirt, and it sold for $25 plus shipping. Following that, we had this pair of Circus by Sam Edelman green Lenny I Can't. Get it? I can't? Flats. These ended up selling for $18 plus shipping. Next up was this men's size large Vans white t-shirt featuring Snoopy and Woodstock, and it sold for $13 plus shipping. Next up was another Gina sale. This was a new with tags, Jones, New York, signature petite ladies pink wool blend tweed blazer, sold for $30 plus shipping. Following that, we had this Disney Store exclusive 16-ounce Mickey Mouse pants mug, and it sold for $10 plus shipping. And the last item from Poshmark, and the last what sold of this video, was this women's pink embroidered University of Texas Longhorns strapback adjustable hat, and it ended up selling for $7 plus shipping. All right, so this is the part of the video that I know that you guys have tuned in to see. This is where I'm going to do the recap on the last video where we did that big Lego buy and toy buy, and I'm just going to run through some numbers of all of our progress over the last month. Now, I'm going to warn you, there's a lot of numbers, there's a lot of statistics, and so just be cautious of that. But to hopefully help in any of confusion that I'm going to run into, I'm going to turn the camera just over this way. I'll put up some numbers. Hopefully it'll make a little bit more sense. All right, so just as a recap, our buy from last video was $1,000. We spent $1,000 for everything that I showed you. So in the last month, what did I do? Well, we put up 53 total listings. Now, that included 42 Lego sets and 11 non-Lego items. Okay, so 53 total listings. Now, the value of those listings, so if everything would have sold, okay, of all those 53 items, the value of only the Legos would have been $3,196.58, and the value of the non-Lego items was $361.89. Okay, so that's what I'm listing everything for. So the question becomes, have we made any money? Did we make any sales? Okay, well, short answer, yes, we made lots of sales. So let's kind of go over some costs, and I'll go over some of the figures with that. So again, we did the $1,000 initial buy-in. Now, what I didn't realize that I was going to have to do was actually buy replacement pieces. So what I found out is that as we were going through here and, listing some of these sets and we were disassembling them, getting ready for shipping, that it's actually easy to break Legos. On some of the little flat pieces, the little plates or whatever, that you can actually, if you're kind of pulling at them from the wrong direction, you can actually snap them in half. And I ended up snapping in half a couple of pieces. My daughter did as well, so I don't feel so bad. But we also lost some, or they weren't included, some obscure pieces. And so in order to make the sets complete, we needed to order some replacement pieces. Now, the pieces themselves weren't really all that expensive, but it was the shipping and the taxes that went along with them. So over and above our $1,000 initial buy-in, ended up spending $36.11 on replacement pieces. But because those pieces go into finished sets, those are actually cost of goods. So altogether, our initial investment here was $1,036.11. All in all, from those 53 total listings, we had 18 sales, okay? 17 Lego sets and 1 non-Lego item. The total on that was $1,766.14 in gross sales. That included shipping as well. So $1,766.14 included shipping. When I take out eBay fees and Mercari fees and whatever other marketplace fees that there were, those ended up being $431.31 in fees. All right. So our profit before cost of goods was $1,333. No, I'm sorry, $1,334.83. And when we take out our cost of goods and replacement pieces of $1,036.11, it brings our final net profit before taxes to $298.72. Now, $298.72 doesn't seem like a large amount of profit. And at this point in the game, it's not. However, I want to remind you that that's over and above the initial $1,000 buy-in. All right. So I know that $300 profit isn't a whole lot. But again, to get to that point, we've had to sell over $1,000 worth of Legos. And that is a lot. So if you think of it this way, with only 18 sales, and we've made over $1,000, those are some pretty significant numbers there. So rather than going through all 18 sales and whatnot, you'll see those in a future video, I promise. I am going to walk you through the top 3 sales. Now, believe it or not, the top 3, 2 of them were Star Wars, and then one of them was actually Scooby-Doo. And that's the one we're going to start with. That's number 3. It was the Scooby-Doo Mystery Machine. This was, of course, complete. It had the manual, it had the box, it had all the minifigures and whatever. This ended up selling for $150 plus shipping on Mercari. So that was a good sale. Again, top 3. So anything, the rest of those 18 were lower than $150. So number 2 on the top 3 sets that have sold was from Star Wars. This was the Malevolence ship, and this sold for $259.99. plus shipping on eBay. And again, this was a complete set. It had all the pieces, all the figures, all the accessories. It had the box, and it had the manuals as well. And the top selling Lego set from this time was the Lego Sandcrawler. It was that new in box one that I featured on that video. This ended up selling for $269.99 plus shipping, and that sold on eBay. So again, for $300 profit thus far, I'm actually really super happy with our progress. We've put a lot of work into it. So one thing that I didn't realize that I was going to have to do was kind of get an organization system much larger than what I was presented with. So we were actually given a lot of full sets and things that were labeled as full. But the problem is that I didn't know if they were in fact full sets or whatnot, because there may have been just a single piece missing and I would have never known. So in addition to photographing all of these sets, we had to disassemble them. We had to count the number of pieces, kind of verify that against what the manual said, and pull from our extra stash of pieces anything that was missing. And that's where those replacement pieces came into the game as well. But one of the things early on that I definitely was glad that I did was I started to sort pieces from our extra piece bags by color. And so if I knew that I needed, let's just say, a red piece, then I could automatically go through my red bag and find the piece that I was looking for, rather than spending time looking through thousands of other pieces in a multitude of other bags. So long story short is that, yes, we have made our money back and then some on this buy, which is fantastic. I'm super thrilled about that. And we have a ton more to get through. In fact, the largest lot that I have listed right now, I do have it listed on the high side. It's about $600, and it's this one. It's two sets together. It's both the Phantom and the Ghost. These are ships from the Lego Star Wars series. So check those out here. I'll put the picture on the screen. And so, like I said, we have a ton to get through, and this is where actually a lot of the work is going to come into play. If we didn't do a lot of work already, we're looking at a ton more. So up until this point, we've been really mainly working on the sets that we knew were complete or very nearly complete. And now we're getting into the ones that are partially complete. And so now it's going to take a lot more searching around of, finding pieces and searching through extra bags. And so there's going to be a lot more time invested in this project. But I'm sure it's going to be profitable. It'll continue to be profitable for sure. But I'll continue to bring you updates along the way. So with that, thank you for watching all the way to the end. I really appreciate you hanging in there. Consider liking the video and of course subscribing to the channel as well. It really does help us out to get the word out there. I'm curious to know your thoughts. Let me know if you think this was too much work for that buy, if you would have kind of shied away from it because there was so much work involved. I'm up for a challenge, and I think this was a fun one to do. Most times if I buy a lot of stuff, I'm really kind of anxious almost because I feel like I'm already behind. And with this buy, even though there's just a ton of work left to go, I'm excited about it. It's fun getting these sets together and photographing them, and it's just a lot of fun. I'm having a really good time with it. So I'm enjoying it. I hope that you've enjoyed the update. Let me know your thoughts below. And with that, thank you so much. Have a Merry Christmas, and we'll catch you on the next one.